In this video I'll discuss some falling skills. Falling skills are very important in all martial arts, also in sword fighting, because sometimes it might be that someone comes in close and takes you down, or maybe you need to take someone down and go with them, or it might just happen that you slip. And if you're able to fall, it's extremely useful because then you won't hurt yourself while doing that. If you're not accustomed to falling, then chances are that you stiffen up and you break something when you're going to the ground. The important thing is to not think about falling, but think more of transitions. Now, everybody can do this exercise. I mean, everybody can do martial arts, can do an exercise where they simply go on the floor and lie down like this. They can also, in whatever way they want, they can come back up. This is the first transition that we need to practice. And this is another technique. There is no one single way in which you should do this. You should do it without hurting yourself. So there are a few rules that you need to follow. The first rule is that you must never hit any of the hard parts, your knees and elbows and your head against the floor. So the idea is not to smash a knee on the floor and then smash an elbow on the floor and then go down from there, because this way you would just hurt yourself. Instead, you need to be soft and you need to use the parts of your body that are the padding, and you use the padding to kind of embrace the floor as you go down. But most people do this naturally. So if you don't force them to do a technique, but you give them a task, you make it task oriented, they will be able to do it, even if they're afraid of falling. Then we're going to practice other transitions too. So these are all movements between certain core postures that you need in this kind of movement or falling exercise. The first position obviously is the standing up position. This is what you start from, and from here we have the lying down position, and then we have other positions. The next one will be going on your stomach like this. So this can be a relaxed position down here, and you simply come up like this and you go back down. Again, the same rules apply. Now, when coming up, I was using the knee, and you can use the knee, it's not like wrong, but you have to be careful not to bash any of the hard parts on the floor, because then you would end up hurting yourself. So instead of dropping on one knee, what I do is I simply go down and I use my hands and I extend myself here without any hard contact. Coming up, you can do it in any fashion you like. The next position will be the squat. In both of these transitions, both the going on my back and going on my stomach, I can include, and I do include a squat. So when I'm lying on my back, I can begin this with a squat. And then I'm already quite close to the ground, so it's quite easy to transition into this position. Also, if I'm going on my stomach, what I can do is simply squat down, and then I can reach the floor. And it's easy for me to extend down here. Not a big deal. So now what we have is 4 postures. We have standing up, we have the squat, we have on the stomach, and finally we have on the back. And now what we can do is just start transitioning between these postures. And now this gets a little bit more tricky. Because you need to be able to do other transitions as well. For example, from down here, you can shift on your stomach, and then what you can do is shift back here, and you can repeat the same exercise in different ways. You're going from this position to this position, and back, and back. Maybe lifting yourself up, feet through, and change. Going back, lifting yourself up, feet through, going back, like this. So transitioning between those postures. Then we include the squatting position, like this. From here, on your stomach, back into the squat, on your back, come back into the squat, on your back, come back into the squat, go forward, back into the squat, forwards on the other side, change on your back, go into the squat, turn around on your back, into the squat, on your stomach, and back up. And you have some already very useful transitions to practice with. There's a couple more postures that I want to look at, and now I'm going to break some of my own rules, and we're going to go into a position with the knees on the ground. Now, there are some people who cannot do this. They can't go into this kind of position because their knees hurt, or they cannot bend their legs in this kind of position. That's a different problem and something that can maybe be worked on, but I'm starting from the assumption that the practitioner is actually able to be in this position. You can also use knee pads if it makes it more comfortable, but this is the position that we're going to look at next. A couple of key points. Key point one, I keep the toes on the ground like this. So I'm not like this, and I'm not like this or anything like that. I'm like this. For a martial artist, this should be the basic. If you, for whatever reason, have to be in this kind of position, you should be like this. The obvious reason for this is that you can push yourself up this way pretty quickly. If I'm here, it's kind of difficult to come up. I can come this far, but what next? I need to start making a step or something. It's not so good. If I'm like this, leave with the hands, do something if I need to. I don't want to go into any scenarios, but it is useful. So this is the position that we're going to start from. And just practicing transition from a squat into this kind of position can be useful for many people, because then you learn to control yourself without hitting the floor with the knees. That's about it. Then the actual thing that we're going to practice is transitioning from this position into the lying on the back position, and also into the lying on the front position. First on the back. So what we need to do is go closer to the ground. I don't want to be falling from here to the side, because I'm actually quite high, and there's danger of, bring the elbow first, and we want to avoid that. We don't want to go elbow first. Instead, what we do is we slide down this way. And this enables me to bring one foot from under the other leg in front of me, like this. This is a transitional posture in between. It's also quite important, and you can, even if you enjoy, some people sit like this, it's fine. Some people are super flexible, they can have both of their buttocks on the ground at the same time. I don't understand how, but some people can. It's a useful posture. It's like a swastika with the feet. And from here, I'm going to turn the hand like this and bring it to my side. So it's a cushion. So I use the upper arm and the forearm, not the elbow, to cushion myself against the floor, and then I can just extend and be comfortable here. Now, when I'm coming back from here, I basically do the same thing. So I'm turning myself to the side, like this. So this is quite useful, to be able to turn like this. It's even more useful to be able to turn and push with the hips, but anyway, it's enough that you do this turn. And now I have this push from here. I come up on the upper arm and the forearm, and I turn and push myself on the forearm, and from here I can put my hand flat on the ground if I need to. I can push myself up here. Now obviously I can do all of this without using this arm, but it certainly helps to have a little bit of support here. And it makes sense. Sometimes you need this kind of support so you can hold it. Then I'm back in this position, and from here I want to return here like this. Now, as part of this transition, we are in this position, and it's kind of fine. But as soon as you come from here to here, I want you to come on your toes like this, so you have freedom of movement in all the directions. This posture is fine, and you can sit here, it's okay. But in a martial arts perspective, to me, it's not such a good posture. But it's part of the transition. So falling or going to the ground from here, it starts with this slide. And you slide here, and a slide here. And then you simply slide back into the same posture. You can do it into the other direction. You go close to the ground, like this. And you come back up, like this, here. And then you fix yourself into this posture. Okay, so the exercise is starting from here. Go to the ground, and extend. And back, and you come here, and you do the same on the other side. You go to the ground, and you roll yourself up in a nice and gentle fashion. One more time, to the other direction, like this, and back, and once more to this side. The same thing. Coming from here into this posture like this. Then if you go into a squat, you can come back up. So the next thing will be going from this position into lying on your front. So basically this is very simple. You just grab the floor and you put yourself here and you come back into this position. It's super simple. Then you can do the same thing taking the feet back. So yeah, you take the hands on the floor, but you extend one foot and the other goes to the side. Then from there, if you want to, you can extend both. And you come back the same direction. We can do it on the other side as well. So the hands go to the floor, I extend the foot, and I open. And then I'm here. The point of this is that if for whatever reason you can't use properly your hands, then again you need to be able to take your hips closer to the ground. When we were going on the back, we were able to do this posture. And from here, it was super simple to go on the back. If we're going forwards, there's another posture that we need to look at. And that posture is going down towards the ground like this. Now I'm on top of only one leg. And if I can't really use my hands at all, I have to come from, make the fall as short as possible. And this is actually a little bit of a fall. At least with my physique, I can't do it super smooth. But it's like this high. So I'm not gonna hurt myself. I can easily do it like this. So I'm just extending one foot back, and then I'm going as close to the ground as possible with the upper arm. Not any hard bits. You might, at first get a little bruise, but whatever, you can still do it. It's the upper arm that takes the weight this way. And the next thing is, from this position, what you should also be able to do is go up here and fall from here. Now, this is preparation for working with the arms, and it's a little bit trickier, but you should keep your hips in front, and as you go down, you catch yourself with your hands, like this, up, and you catch yourself with the hands. This is a little bit more advanced, but yeah, it's something you can practice. And the final stage of this exercise would be to make the fall forwards without using your hands. And again, here, what we need to do is use the hips. So the hips are going forwards first. This is advanced and not something that beginners should do, but eventually you should be able to do this. And if you want to practice, then use a mat or something soft, not on the concrete in the beginning, because you might make a mistake at first. But basically, you take your hands behind your back like this, and the hips need to be up and in the front. And you drive yourself forwards with the hips. So it is the hips that make contact with the ground first. And you turn yourself to one side as you go down, like this. And I'm not hitting my face on the floor because I'm keeping my head back, like this. And what you can also do is use this position in order to come back up, like this. Now we're going to look specifically at falling backwards. This is pretty easy. We'll start with some new postures maybe to begin with. So, well, this is one new posture that I wasn't really explaining previously, but this is a combination of this position and the squat. In between these two, we have this position, and yes, you can practice it transitioning between all of these postures like this. Fairly easy. Now, the next posture will be this, just sitting down this way. It's very simple, but it's part of the game. And from this position, what you can do is simply go down like this, and you come back up. This is your beginning of backwards falling practice. It's super easy and super simple. Just from sitting down, you go down like this. Now, I know some people like slapping the floor and doing stuff like that. We don't, or I don't teach that kind of thing for various reasons. Firstly, it's not necessary, and the other thing is that when you fall, you need to be doing stuff with your hands. Maybe you need to shoot someone, maybe you need to cut someone with a sword, maybe you're holding on to something, maybe you have a baby in your hands, I don't know. You cannot rely on throwing things away when you're falling. It makes no sense. Of course, sometimes if you need to protect yourself with your hands when you're falling down, maybe there's a really hard blow. So you take if you can, you take your hand behind your back, behind your head like this. Maybe you can do it. But it's like, you do it if you do it, but it's not a reflex. It's not something you do every time. You need to be able to do these falls without relying on your hands. The hands need to be free. So this is like a sit-up, but it's a sit-up with a purpose, and the purpose is falling down. So it's transition from here, like this. And I'm not going along the spine, but I always try to make contact a little bit on one side, like this. Now I'm on the right hip, and the right side of my back touches the floor first. I can roll on the other side and come back up like this. So you want to just do this like a sit-up exercise. It's a good idea to change the side a little bit. This is useful anyway, because this is kind of an open position. It's not, you can understand why this is not necessarily the best idea. But then when I'm on one side like this, there's stuff that I can do. I can use the foot like this, the defensive way. I can easily protect myself completely. There's very little that I leave open in this kind of posture. I can keep myself covered while I come back up, and this is useful always to do that. Anyway, what we do is we sit down, and from there you go on the back like this. We sit back up. If you want to do another transition here, you can, but it's enough to just start from here and go down and up. So that's step one, fairly simple. The next step of backwards falling is to be able to go into the sitting position from the standing position while you're actually moving backwards. The first thing to avoid, whenever you happen to be falling backwards, is to prevent this from happening. That's scary. I mean, you can practice to fall backwards straight, but it's kind of a stupid thing to do. I'm not going to demonstrate it here on the hard floor, because it's easily painful just falling backwards. It's a very bad idea. The things you can do to save yourself, if you happen to find yourself, like crashing down this way. But first, let's learn to do it in a more comfortable way. Going back to the very first exercise. If I'm falling backwards, the first thing is to take a step like this. This is actually, I don't have here anyone to push me now, but if someone pushes me backwards, this is the first thing I want to do, support. So that's the beginning of everything. Don't fall necessarily. You're going backwards, you take a support, and you're back in a good posture. It doesn't stop us from going to the ground, but still, when I'm falling backwards, I want to take the foot here. And then I can go through the sitting position into the lying back position, like this. It's very easy. Now, doing this slow, you go backwards, you take one foot here. Now basically what you need to do is a pistol squat. So you're here, and you sit down, and you extend yourself back like this. It's not actually like super easy, but that's the way to do it. That's what you need to practice. So it's almost exactly like doing chest squat with one leg, and then going backwards like this. Even if you can't do a pistol squat, you can still do this because you're going to the ground. The idea is to take the hips again close to the ground, So you're going backwards, like this. Then you want to take your hips near the floor. And then you're back here. This is the next thing. This is what you need to be able to do. The next thing about falling backwards is going from this position, from here. And now comes another reason why this is a bad idea, because if I'm in this position and I have to fall backwards, it's awkward at best. Won't demonstrate it. Instead, from here, it's fairly simple because I'm simply going on top of my feet, and then I'm down here. Then to the other side, starting from here, just push backwards. And I take one foot from under me and I extend it in front. And then I'm back here on my back. You don't necessarily need to extend one foot, but it makes it easier. You could also just go from here, like this, then find yourself on one side and go from there. But I find it much easier to, at this stage, take one foot, extend it, and go to the ground from there. It's just more simple this way. The next stage of falling backwards is doing it from a squatting position. So, here, in a squat, and again, I extend one foot to the ground like this, so I end up on my back. Super simple. Then doing on the other side, I'm here, and I just extend, and I'm back down here. Very easy. Now, sometimes it might be that you can't, for whatever reason, take one foot in front of you. So what happens is that you go like this. Now, here's where this kind of thing comes in. If you do it naturally, then fine, you can do it, but you don't need to. You should be able to do this same exercise, keeping the hands in front. It's a little bit harder, but it's actually better to practice it that way, because then you can do stuff with your hands while you're falling. But you might need it. And then the final part of this training session is the rolls. There are very many different kinds of rolls that you can do, and in my opinion, in my perspective, it's not about style really, so you can do it in any way. And if you already learned some kind of rolling in some martial art or wherever, you can use that, and then just make sure that you're not hurting yourself. If you only practice in soft floor, I suggest trying hard. It's a different technique. You need to be able to do both. It's slightly different. But I'm going to show you my way of doing the rolls. So we're going to start with the backwards roll. And there's a progression that we're going to use. First thing, we start with this, the most easy, the first way of falling to on the back, I'm not sure. This one, like this. Now what we're going to do is fall back and do a little roll this way. So this is just something to, smooth out the motion. In this exercise you can roll even a little bit on the spine. It doesn't really matter as long as it's comfortable for you. Because the idea is to be swinging back and forward. But you can also concentrate on using the right side and using the left side. Probably the difference is not so much visible, but yeah, you can get like this, it's fine. And this is good massage also, so you can do this as much as you like. You can't do too much of that really. And from there, the next one is to keep the back on the floor already, like this, and simply lift up and go forwards here. And again, you can do this a little bit on the spine, it's fine, or you can concentrate on doing this right side, and you can do this on the left side, like this. It's good exercise and very, very useful for you. This way. So these exercises are just to prepare your back, prepare your spine for the actual rolls. Alright, the next one is, this is almost a little bit like a stretch. I'm super stiff, unfortunately, but if I can do these exercises, then I'm sure everybody can do this. Now, if you have pain or something in your back, then maybe you shouldn't do this at first. Be very careful. But what I want you to slowly do is take your hands behind you and just relax in this position. And you can go back, so we get this transition again. It's a transition from being on your back into this kind of like shrimp position, this way, and you hold it for a while, and then you come back. And the next thing is to actually roll over from there. There really isn't anything in between these two. So I suggest you just try it until you can get it right. But the way in which I want you to practice is that you're trying to reach for something with your feet. That's something being the ground. So I'm trying to reach the ground. I'm so stiff that I can't really even put my feet on the ground. But what I can do is try to reach beyond me, not in the center, but on one side. Let's see, it's this side first. And I'm trying to reach with my feet. And eventually, I'll just roll over as I try doing that. So that's the trick. You're reaching as far as you can. And it's not about, again, slamming something against the floor. Instead, you're reaching, and then just falling and rolling around. Couple of tips. Use the side of your foot instead of the toes, because if you have, this is very slippery, but if you have a lot of traction, you will be stuck, and you don't want that. So instead of being stuck, what I want you to do is use the side of your foot like this, so you can slide and find yourself again in this position. So that's the next one. Then we're going to practice this same rolling thing from different postures. That's the next bit. So what we're going to do is doing the roll from this position and doing it from the squat and doing it from half squat with one foot here and also doing it from standing up. So I'll just show this and you have to find your way through these exercises. Before doing that, one other tip. Instead of just holding both of your hands towards the ground like this, I want you to take the hand that is on the side in which you're going to put your feet and put it on this side like this. So instead of having both up here, now let's say I'm taking my feet to this side, I don't want to keep this hand up here, but to the side like this. Because then I have this space and I can more easily roll around. If the hand is here, I don't know where I'm going to take that, but if it's here, it's supporting me like this, and it's turning. So one more time, going from here, going to be rolling with my feet on the side of the camera. So I take the hand here on the side, like this, and I'm just reaching like this. I hope it's visible. Alright, then showing the same thing from the other postures. One, from here. Rolling around, like this. From squat, I squat down. Rolling around, like this. From a half squat, so I'm here. From this position, just go backwards. And around. Finally, standing up. Remember, it begins with the step. So it's a step back like this, down, and rolling from there. Next one, rolling forwards. It's the same thing as rolling backwards, but just doing it forwards. To make it easy, we start from the ground, like this. Now, it's the exact opposite of the previous one. So, one hand is on the side like this, and this is the trick. I turn it so that the palm is upwards. The other hand is supporting from here, and I look at the bent hand, this way. And I'm pushing my hips, pulling my hips up, like this, and just pull myself as far as I need to in order to be able to roll around. So, first I go backwards, like this, and then I continue around. I can go the other side or the same side. So this hand rolls, palm up. This hand supports on the ground. I look behind or through my arm, and I pull my hips up until I roll around. And I can return the same way, change side, and roll. So this is your forwards roll, combined actually with the backwards roll. The next thing is to do the forwards roll from different postures. Now here is where you have different techniques. Maybe you learn to do the roll so that you make this, circle with your hand or arm. this way. Maybe you've done more like a parkour roll where you take both hands on one side like this and you roll from there. Maybe you've done more like a swastika roll where you extend the hand. It's the same as the backwards roll and forwards roll as shown from the floor. So you go this way and up from there. You can do any of these. There are more. There's the kind of diving triangle like this, and you go around from there. So you can practice any of these, but from different postures. So make sure to practice whatever one you do from here. Catch the floor. You go around. You can do it from a squat, going this way, like here, and from standing up, you do it in any way you like. This way. So final lesson, rolling without making contact with the floor with your knees. So keeping the knees completely safe from the floor. So when I make the roll, what I do is I make contact on the floor and I come up like this. Now this kneeling position, it's okay, you're unlikely to hurt yourself, but here it's the knee making contact with the floor. Now there's another way of doing the standing up part where instead of going down to the side of the knee, you change the foot that actually makes contact with the floor first. It's a little bit tricky to show maybe, but it's something you can think about and practice. So I do this very slowly from here. So where normally, as I make the roll this way, it's the side of the leg that makes contact, and now I don't have the momentum anymore, but I go forwards over it like this. The other option is to first make contact with the other leg or the other foot, and then instead of coming down like this, come down like this, and then continue here and just stand up. So, and if I do it with the actual roll from here, it looks like this. I make contact with the floor, I come here, and it's like this. And I can continue. If I have a little bit more momentum, it's easier to do. So I come from here, and then I go for the roll, and I just stand up this way. Going backwards, the same thing. Usually what happens is that I roll, and maybe the knee makes contact. Even if I stand all the way up, usually what happens is that I go like this, then I stand up. Knee makes contact, not so good. So in order to avoid that, what I can do is, at this stage, when I'm here, just use the hands. This is difficult. The feet need to be closer to the body. So instead of the first exercise where I extended and stretched back down, back behind me, now I make contact with the soles of the feet instead of the side. And then I use the hands to push myself up. So I go backwards, I sit down, I roll around, and it's here, like this. One more time. So I'm here, I begin with the step back, I fall down, I roll, and immediately on my feet. So this is not everything, obviously, but with these exercises, you should get quite comfortable with all sorts of falling down things. And then you can do free-form practice where you breathe out. Every time you breathe out, you go to the ground, you breathe in, you come back up, breathe out, go to the ground, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. Okay, I hope this helps, so thank you.